Ayan, magandang araw po. Ako po si Gio Potes. Isa po akong short filmmaker at isa ding trainer pagdating sa gender rights. And also, kasalukuyan ding part-time lecturer sa Far Eastern University, Institute of Arts and Sciences, Department of Communication. So, maraming salamat kay Ralph sa pag-imbita sa akin na magbahagi tungkol dun sa mga naging favorite films ko last year, 2024. Actually, dahil nahirapan akong pumili lang ng isa, ang aking pinili ay dalawa. Isang international tsaka isang local. So, yung unahin natin yung international, yung talaga isa sa pinaka nagustuhan kong cinematic experiences last year ay ang The Substance ni Coralie Farja. So, parang talagang natuwa ako na nanumbalik at nagbabalik si Demi Moore. Tapos parang kung makikita mo kasi yung kanyang promotion, may air of mystery talaga pagdating doon sa concept. Pero at the same time, yung pag-blend at pag-hybrid ng sci-fi, ng horror, pati na din nung kanyang body horror na gustong ipalaganap ay napukaw talaga yung interest ko, kaya pinanood ko twice sa sinehan. So ganun ko siya na-enjoy. Apart from that is of course dahil nga si Demi Moore ay nagbabalik at dito sa kanyang involvement sa second feature ni Coralie ay napakita no na yung genre mismo, itong mga genre films na hybrid nila together ay worth pursuing even ng mga Hollywood blockbuster actresses na for a time si Demi ay one of the highest paid actresses noong 90s. And ngayon ay talagang nanunumbalik yung interest kahit ng mga critics at ng mga awards show ng mga namimili na talagang nabibigyang pansin ng horror. In an era na talagang ang daming lumalaganap na magagandang horror na nagtatackle din ng always does, no, yung pagtackle sa mga societal issues and concerns and deeply psychological impacts ng mga nangyayari sa paligid. So at this point, of course, The Substance is, you can say, may feminist themes and elements din, and actually I would say intentions mula pa lang dun sa oeuvre ni Coralie, yung mga ginagawa niya from Revenge hanggang dito sa The Substance, na meron siyang ganong interest na sa paggamit ng feminismo in a way na nanggagaling din dun sa French New Extremities ng 2000s, na at this point parang naisama din niya yung ganong interest ng mga Pranses pagdating sa horror, pagdating sa katawan ng kababaihan, at marami pang pwedeng masabi tungkol dun kung paano din nila na-handle in so many layered messaging dun sa kanilang mga pelikula. So what's interesting about the feminism, or at least yung themes ng feminism nitong pelikulang ito, is how it handles aging and women, given naman na yun, no? Pero in a way that makes it much more sabog. Talagang yung experience would also give you a lot to think about pagdating doon sa mga tema niya. Kasi particularly dito sa The Substance, one thing I really enjoyed ay yung kanyang intertextual references sa mga past horror filmmakers. Perhaps yung mga naka-influence din kay Coralie, and you can see that sa mga interviews, how she references Hitchcock, of course David Lynch, and yung iba pang mga filmmakers na nagtackle din sa mga gantong issues and concerns even with body horror, especially David Cronenberg, no? Dito sa kanyang mga influences, parang if you're a film buff, matutuwa ka na na-manage niyang magawa yun in such a way na na-flip din yung switch na paano naman kung babaeng lente o sa lente ng kababaihan ito gagamitin with the actresses like si Margaret Qualley, pati si Demi Moore acting out these hybrid or as one na mga entities, and how they relate, no, doon sa worlding na ginagawa ng cinematography din, and yung lack even of dialogue nitong pelikula na pinapakita na they have to navigate this sort of given na mga already oppressive standards pagdating sa katawan ng kababaihan in the entertainment industry. So those are the things that made me really enjoy it, and talagang when you get to see it on the big screen, the use of colors, yung editing niya, the use of sound especially, ay talagang you're grabbed din dun sa ganoong paglikha ng pelikula, and you are dragged across doon sa experience ng characters, doon sa tatlo niyang acts that also give you kung ano yung pinagdadaanan ng character in those realms of being Elizabeth, being Sue, and especially being the monstro Elisa Sue. So The Substance is really a very, very fantastic cinematic experience na to treasure ko din, no, as time goes on, at ang dami pa niyang layers na pwedeng ma-discover. And then locally, yung naging paborito ko last year was a short film from the Q Cinema, a film festival by Gil Baldosa. Ito yung kinakausap ni Celso ang Diyos. So, along with a lot of films last year, especially sa Q Cinema that tackled a lot on fantasy elements, magic realism. This is a particularly interesting play of form habang meron din siyang mahalaga at talagang makabuluhan na statement pagdating sa kalagayan ng mga manggagawa sa Pilipinas. So one thing I really liked about it, una, dun sa kwento niya, no, na talagang it's close to the filmmaker's heart. Gusto niya magkwento tungkol sa kanyang ama, dun sa kanyang mga magulang, yung experiences nila ng oppressive and also unfair treatment ng workers sa isang pabrika. And kung paano din niya na-involve yung sarili niya through this little child na merong make-believe na camera sa isang cellphone. So, all throughout, you get this impression that the filmmaker was always there seeing, dahil din doon sa paglaro ng POV and perspective, na nandun yung, sabihin na natin yung innocuous na pagtanaw pagdating sa paligid, pero kinukunan din in such a way na paano siya tingnan sa lente ng isang bata. So that personal aspect na parang nagde-delve na nga minsan din sa autoethnography na pinapakita ni Guild kung ano din yung kanyang naging pananaw doon sa kanyang ama nung siya ay bata pa. Of course, the ama was played by Bullet Dumas. And then makikita natin doon sa trajectory, doon sa narrative, kung paano eventually the child is playing along this perspective. And then makikita mo hanggang sa dulo na doon sa naging decision ng father, though I don't want to spoil anything, pero dun sa naging decision ng father with the children, the child was a willing participant doon sa mga pangarap ng father para sa kanyang pamilya. And makita mo na all this time kinukunan pala niya using that cellphone. That's the one spoiler I would give, no? Yung involvement ng bata doon sa pagkukwento. And I guess that's also kind of the magic of cinema really, kung paano niya din tayo dinadala through this perspective doon sa intentions ng filmmaker, na hinahayaan ka ding maging reflective, no? Maging reflexive even, dahil hindi niya pinalilitaw na para kang may distance. Gusto niya na lumapit ka, panoorin din yung kanyang natutunghayan, and also feel the emotions, no, of a child watching his father venture into, alam mo yun, this situation, kung paano niya pwedeng masolusyonan with empathy, with heartfelt na pagpapaubaya doon sa kanyang mga anak in whatever means na kaya niya, no? So that became one of my favorites nung panahon na yun, also because of its very imaginative use of the medium. So with that, it's a very good example for future filmmakers, halimbawa, or even for others na mahilig manood ng cinema, to really reimagine how we use the camera, how we use a cinema in expressing how we find ng mga bata tayo o kahit ngayon, yung mga nangyayari sa paligid natin. And it's something na refreshing then as well, because it invites you as an audience to also take part in that cinematic experience. And for me, with the substance and dito sa Celso ni Gilb, it's always amazing when the audience can take part in the proceedings and in, you know, and also figuring out how to enjoy and how to venture into this film, this cinematic experience. So I guess 2024 has a lot to offer pagdating sa mga ganong aspect, pero I would single out these two films, The Substance, pati kinakausap ni Celso ang Diyos. Ayun. Muli, ako po si Gio Potes. Those were my favorite films of 2024, and maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin.
Hello everyone, I'm Ed. Start ko lang by saying thank you to Meteor Rare for inviting me to share some of the films that I love this 2024. I am no expert, but I do love watching films, so I hope you get something dito sa mga list of titles that I'll be sharing. I'll be sharing films random lang, pero allow me to start with my pick for the best Filipino film of 2024, which is Tumandok by Katsu Marisay and Richard Salvatico. Oh my God. Sana tama yung sana tama yung mga names nila na nabanggit ko. Yung Tumandok na premiere siya sa Cinemalaya, and if I remember correctly, best film siya sa Cinemalaya last year. And it's about the Ati community in Sitio Cabarangcalan in Iloilo who are fighting for their claims sa kanilang ancestral land. So, very essential yung kwento niya. Essential na may platform yung mga ganitong kwento na indigenous community. Especially, isa sila sa mga vulnerable sectors dito sa bansa and prone talaga sila sa iba't ibang klase ng abuse. And gusto ko rin tumandong because it's beautifully observed. Uh, and nag-shine talaga yung resilience ng ating community dun sa story. Usually kasi parang yung films with yung mga films na may advocacy, usually it's either may tendency sila na maging manipulative or maging mag-dwell too much on the hardships or the struggles. Pero on Tumandok, I think, yes, it's about their struggle and about their fight for the ancestral land ng mga ating community. Pero mas nag-shine yung resilience of the ating community, of the indigenous people. And they featured non-actors, pero they performed their roles or their characters beautifully on screen. It's well written, beautifully observed. As I mentioned, parang naulit ko na yan, beautifully observed. And uh, while watching it, mararamdaman mo na it's something, this story is something very, very special and goes to the heart of the filmmakers. Uh, Kasi the way they frame the characters, parang there's so much grace, there's so much respect. Yes, may struggle, pero ramdaman mo na parang nag-shine talaga yung resilience sila and it's their resilience that keeps them going. And very, very apparent yun dun sa Tumandok. And ayun. And strong rin yung filmmaking din niya. As mentioned, beautifully shot and well written and well researched. And parang nakakita ko sa social media, parang binalikan nila ng mga filmmakers yung uh, ating community, tapos pinanood nila yung film dun sa community. So, parang, yeah, very apparent na the filmmakers love this story and they love the community and they have so much respect dito sa kwento na to. Then din sa komunidad ng mga ati sa Iloilo. And ano ba, parang for me, parang very Cinemalaya film siya. In a sense na uh, it's very simple pero it has a big or essential message to tell. And I must say, one of the best Cinemalaya films. At least nitong mga siguro in the last 10 years. So, ayun. I hope yung mga viewers can get to watch tong Tumando because it's very, very important to see films like this. And maganda siya. Gusto ko siya. And uh, ayun. I think I shed a tear or two in in a scene between dun sa father at dun sa daughter. I'm sorry, di ko lang maalala yung names ng characters, pero ang galing nila. For non-actors, parang ang galing-galing na. Beau- ang galing ng performance nila. They beautifully perform their roles or their characters. So, I hope more people get to see itong Tumando. Ang isa pang film na I think one of the best Filipino films from last year is yung Alipato at Moong ni J.L. Burgos na nag-premiere din sa Cinemalaya. And for a while, I think naging laman siya ng news dahil na-X rating siya ng MTRC. Pero eventually na-lift din on the second review yata. Nabuti naman na na-lift dahil nakapag-screening sila I think sa UP. So essential din na malaman natin yung mga ganitong kwento kasi mahalaga din siya. So it tells the story of the filmmaker si J.L. Burgos at kanyang nanay na si Edita Burgos as they find the truth about the disappearance of Jonas Burgos, JL's brother. So si Jonas Burgos ay isang desaparecido na uh, matagal lang nawawala. And yung film, nilayout niya yung mga detalye kung ano yung mga posibleng nangyari, uh, or kung posibleng nasaan na ba si Jonas. So, it plays out like an investigative thriller, pero gusto ko rin yung mga attempts niya na, kasi it's a personal story, so may attempts din siya na to bring audiences on this emotional space ng filmmaker. Dahil nga personal, something na very, very personal sa filmmaker. Dahil kwento mismo ng kapatid niya, kwento nila as a family essentially. And na na-capture sa animation. Na may mga animation doon, may mga parts doon na animated. So parang yung mga parts na yun, parang uh, it brings you or it gives you a picture kung ano ba yung emotional makeup nila while struggling sa pagkawala ni Jonas Burgos sa kanilang brother. And it's also an affecting portrait of a mother, si Miss Edita Burgos. So, I can only imagine yung parang yung bigat ng ganong situation to be in that situation. So, yun, parang it's a portrait, affecting portrait of a mom na naghahanap ng answers or naghahanap ng katotohanan kung nasaan ba yung kanya anak. And nag-shine din dun yung resilience ni Edita Burgos, yung mom ni JL Burgos and ni Jonas Burgos. So, and hopefully, eventually, makahanap na sila ng kalinawan tungkol sa kwento, dun sa nangyari kay Jonas Burgos. And I hope a lot of people could see this. Could see Alipado in Mo. Hopefully, marami pang makapanood. Hopefully, magkaroon pa sila ng mga screenings na marami pang makapanood or maging available sa streaming. Since essential din na meron tayong mga films na ganito na nagde-depict or bibigay sa atin ng picture about the injustice and impunity that we have dito sa Pilipinas. So, heavy siya. Pero, ayun, heavy siya. Actually, it's a heavy subject. Pero, it's very essential and very, I think, magiging relevant siya for a long time as long as may mga enforced disappearances, may mga, as long as may injustice and may impunity sa Pilipinas, maging essential yung mga ganitong films like Alipato at Mo. So, I highly recommend that you go see it whenever, kapag may chance. And the third film that I like, Filipino film that I like from 2024 is Fantos Mia by Love Diaz. I've already seen a couple of Love Diaz films. So more or less parang alam ko na as a viewer ko na expect ko sa kanya. Pero surprisingly, meron akong nakitang or surprise ako dito sa Fantos Mia. Na-surprise ako na sa protagonist niya kasi it's a clear-cut hero. By the way, yung protagonist is played by Ronnie Lazaro. Excellently played by Ronnie Lazaro, the greatest of all time. Sobrang galing. Yung role niya, si Sergeant Hilarion Zabala. It's a clear-cut hero and hindi ko kasi maalala sa mga napanood ko na mga Love DS film kung may clear-cut hero talaga. Pero parang refreshing lang to see someone na as in clear-cut hero. Of course, fractured character pa rin siya. May marami siyang demons and marami siyang chaotic yung trauma niya. And marami rin, hindi rin okay yung relationship niya with his family. Marami siyang, kumbaga, fractured character siya. Pero, meron siya, yung sa takbo ng story, naging heroic siya. And it's something na parang, ang refreshing lang to see something like that. uh, at a time like this, and at a time and from Love Diaz. And I'm coming from dun sa mga napanood ko. I haven't seen every Love Diaz film, pero at least dun sa mga 4 or 5 titles na napanood ko, I think wala akong nakita na clear-cut character. Like, yung character ni Ronnie Lazaro sa Phantos Mia. And I am and bukod pa doon, na-surprise ako sa ending kasi it's as if Love DS is telling or is showing us na hopeful, may hope. Parang gano'n. No, if that, I don't know if nag-make sense. I don't want to spoil the film, pero parang, it ends on a hopeful note na parang hindi ko, na-surprise din ako na kaya, or, well, of course, kaya ni Love DS. Pero, na-surprise ako na ganun yung naging ending niya. Ang refreshing lang makapanood ng ganung ending. Something na hopeful sa panahon na parang ang dami-daming hindi, ang dami-daming grim na mga things na nangyayari or dami-daming nakakapatay ng hope. And to see something or to see a film na end with hope or end something na liberating or ang refreshing lang yung panoorin. Hindi ko alam kung nag-make sense ako pero gano'n, na-surprise ako dun with the kind of ending that it has. So, kaya I think it's one of the best of this year. Sobrang nagulat ako, na-enjoy ko siya. And of course, bukod sa mga feature-length Filipino films, I've also saw a couple of short films. Pero I have two na I want to share na very notable for me or very memorable or I enjoyed a lot. Una is yung Rampage o Ang Parada by Kukay Bautista Sinampan. So I saw this in Q Cinema. Ano ba yung, basically ano siya, it's about a group of uh, queer people fighting a dystopian police society. So parang ganun yung kwento niya. Actually, ano siya, ang high concept niya, ang very high concept and plot heavy siya for a short film that run for 19 minutes. Actually, honestly, hindi ko na maalala kung yung takbo, kung ano yung tinakbo ng kwento niya. Pero, I like it because ang intact or ang evident na ang ganda ng idea or ang intact na idea and intact na vision ng filmmaker. And I think na ang limited lang nung 19 minutes. And I'm pretty sure pwedeng-pwede itong maging full-length film. Di ako nagbibigay, I know I'm not giving justice to this film by discussing you, pero yun siya, ang ano kasi nung idea, high concept. And I really hope na yung filmmaker will find a way to make this into a full-length film. Because I wanted to know more about the characters. Kasi of course, they're all queer. And ang ano lang ng idea na na queer people fighting a fascist police society na future ang set. And yeah, gusto ko siya kasi to be queer is to resist. So, yun. And I hope na maging full-length film siya in the future. So, someone fund the full-length version of this film kasi panonoorin ko siya. Yun, Rampage o Ang Parada. And another short film that I like is from Q Cinema as well. Tama ba? Q Cinema. Yeah, Q Cinema. So, it's from Gil Baldosa, kinausap ni Celso Anjos. Starring Ulet Tumas, which is a revelation to me na galing pala yung Marte. So, I'm sorry, di ko rin maalala yung kwento, pero essentially tungkol siya sa patriarch. So, na nagkaroon ng number of accidents sa kanyang workplace. So factory worker siya. So na-accident siya for a couple of times sa kanyang workplace. So siya kasi it depicts yung struggles of the working class, and at the same time uh, tungkol din siya sa father na uh, mapamahiin or naniniwala sa parang idea of swerte or an idea of luck. And ang ano lang niya, ang sobrang nag-resonate na siya sa akin kasi parang minsan kasi parang 'di ba yung in life minsan fate na lang or luck na lang talaga yung kakapitan mo. So ayun. And it's an emotional story din about fatherhood. So about the patriarch na trying to keep his family together. So ayun, I enjoy siya and I hope to see it again. And hindi ko lang alam kung saan pero I hope to see it again kasi medyo hindi medyo maganda siya. And ang galing ni Bullet Tumas, sobrang nagulat ako na meron pala siyang ganong capabilities to act on screen and to hold the screen, yung presence niya, ano rin, galing, ganda siya. And that's it. That's some of my films, or the some of the films from 2024 that I really like. So I hope, uh, I hope may nakuha kayo sa mga sinabi ko. Parang feeling ko ay wala na akong, hindi na ako nagme-make sense. Pero, ayun, parang I hope people get to see those films. Especially yung mga Filipino films na na-mention ko. Uh, whenever may chance, please watch them kasi it's promise that it's worth your time, and Filipino films need more audience. So and very very essential yung mga messages nila, and I'm sure hindi talaga masayang oras nyo when you watch uh, good Filipino films especially. So again, thank you for inviting me to share some of my favorite films. Uh, so ayun, parang let's watch more films this 2025. So looking forward to share din yung mga other films. So thank you for the podcast. Thank you to Medium Rare for inviting me. Ayun. So bye.
Hello, ako si JP Habak, isang writer and director. Ang mga films na tumatak sa akin ng 2024 ay Dune Part 2, Wicked, Idea of You, and Challengers.
Hi Ralph, Lorna here. So I would have to say that my favorite film of 2024 would have to be A Real Pain. Although that movie was actually screened a bit late here in the Philippines and was only shown recently. So for me, although I have to say that Anora is one of my favorite films of 2024, A Real Pain has to be the one that's the best one for me because I can say that I connected with it the most. It depicted grief, generational trauma, loss, depression, and anxiety almost perfectly. I can say that it's brilliantly written and brilliantly acted by Jesse Eisenberg, and of course, the Oscar's Best Supporting Actor, Kieran Culkin. So that film has to be one of my favorites of 2024, A Real Pain.
Good morning! Ako si Ian. I work as an assistant director for films and commercials. And what are the 2 or 3 films that marked from last year's roster? I think number 1 is The Substance. That's my favorite among all. Number 2, I would say Anora. medyo wow siya for me. And lastly, I don't think counted yung Queer kasi 2025 na yun eh. But what else in 2024? Oh, Challengers ni Luca.